Is no longer accepting applications. Lenders approving $339 billion in just 2 weeks to help small businesses. But you should also know that big businesses, including some major restaurant chains, are getting these loans. Jackie DeAngelis is in our New York City newsroom with more on this. Jackie?
Good afternoon to you, Dana. And there are a lot of people up in arms, certainly, about this. We are looking at the Paycheck Protection Program as something that's helping people move forward. You pay your employees, you pay your expenses as we're in lockdown, and then as things open up, these businesses can get back to normal. But small businesses are up in arms. They are saying we are not getting our loans when larger restaurant chains actually are. Take high-end restaurant chains Ruth Chris. It's received $20 million. The max is $10 million. But the company filed for loans by having 2 of its subsidiaries apply. And you have Potbelly Sandwich Shops also securing a $10 million loan just days after one of its executives received a $100,000 bonus. Taco Cabana, Cura, they got the loans too. So what are the rules here? Well, eligibility for the PPP loan depends on a business employing more than 500 people per physical location. So say a chain's got 20 physical locations and each employs less than 500 people. Can the business submit 20 different applications? Of course, the answer to that is no. But it is eligible for one loan because of the number of employees that it employs. So what if a business has 2 subsidiaries like Ruth's Chris? It got 2 loans. Potbelly got that one $10 million loan because its locations employ less than 500 each. Now, the cases we mentioned, they didn't break the rules per se, but it leaves these questions open, Dana. Where are the loopholes and why are certain loans getting approved before others? Small businesses are asking that. We reached out to Treasury for clarity on this. We are waiting to hear back. Back to you.
Yeah, they're trying to get money out the door quickly. Thank you so much, Jackie.
Sure.
And more than 5 million Americans filing jobless claims last week, pushing the total number of coronavirus layoffs in the past 4 weeks to over 22 million. Peter Hebert, is the co-founder and managing partner at Lux Capital. Peter, I'm kind of stumbling over my words. We are waiting for the president. We will get to him in just a moment, but I want to ask you about how your expertise of you're looking ahead and looking around corners. What do you see as the future for some of these people that might be unemployed, worried, what kind of skills they might need in a post-pandemic environment?
Thank you for having me, Dana. I mean, I think it's a big question, obviously, when most of us Americans are looking around and there's likely to be 1 out of every 4 or 5 Americans unemployed. What does the world look like and what are the jobs of the future? And so collectively at Lux, we have about 125 active portfolio companies managing about $2.5 billion. And so for us, we're trying to think about the employment opportunities of the next 5 to 10 years. And so if I look at the businesses within our portfolio right now, many of those are suffering from the same headwinds that other major parts of the economy are, whether it's kind of hospitality or travel or lodging. But the reality is many of the companies are actually seeing acceleration in business, and those are generally in areas of remote work or also in the areas of telehealth, which have for many years certainly been the inevitable future. Today now, kind of that future is being pulled into the present.
And Peter, if you could hold there, I think President Trump is ready to do this.
You wouldn't switch jobs with anybody, would you, huh? You wouldn't. I know the truckers. They wouldn't switch with anybody. It's what they love, right? That's why they're good at it. These are the best, too. Well, thank you all for being here as we celebrate some of the heroes of our nation's great struggle against the coronavirus, our brave, bold, and incredible truckers. And look at that equipment. They're the best made. And great companies also, and companies that have really helped us a lot. We appreciate that. At a time of widespread shutdowns, truck drivers form the lifeblood of our economy and the absolute lifeblood. For days and sometimes weeks on end, truck drivers leave their homes and deliver supplies that American families need and count on during this national crisis, and at all other times. They're always there. Their routes connect every farm, hospital, manufacturer, business, and community in the country. In the war against the virus, American truckers are the foot soldiers who are really carrying us to victory, and they are. They've done an incredible job. We've had no problems. It's been just great, and we want to thank you very much. It's really great. We have a little special award too. To every trucker listening over the radio or behind the wheel, I know I speak for the 330 million plus Americans that we say, thank God for truckers. That'll be our theme. Thank God for truckers. On this special occasion, when we honor the truck drivers of America, I'm grateful to be joined by Secretary of Transportation Elaine Chao, who's doing a fantastic job, and the CEO of the American Trucking Association, Chris Spear. Secretary Chao, please say a few words. Thank you. Thank you, Elaine.
Mr.
You can move
President.
that if you like.
I'm a little bit shorter, so. Mr. President, thank you so much. I am so pleased to join the President in honoring America's heroes, our country's truck drivers and trucking industry. The whole country is cheering you on. Without you, it would be impossible to keep our economy moving and get food, medical equipment, and essential supplies to where they need to be. The U.S. Department of Transportation has been hard at work to help you do this difficult job for our country. At the President's direction, we have reached out to the trucking industry on an unprecedented basis, listening to your concerns, providing regulatory relief, and helping ensure that truck stops and state rest stops are open and food is available. We are so grateful for what you do. Truckers are playing a heroic role in helping America cope during this crisis, and truckers will be a critical part in helping our economy recover once this crisis is past us. The administration is here for you. Just let us know. So a big thank you to America's truckers, their families, and to the entire trucking industry for keeping our country moving. You are truly America's heroes. Thank you, Mr. President.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much, Elaine. From the moment the invisible enemy landed on our shores, America's 3.5 million truckers have never wavered at all, and they've never, ever let us down. When we supply our country, we supply it through truckers, and supply chains were stretched thin to hospitals and cities and states. They needed massive convoys of supplies. The truckers kept on going day and night. Didn't make any difference to them. They had to get the job done. With us today is Charlton Paul, a driver with UPS Freight from New York and a leader in the Teamsters Local 707. I know the Teamsters well. I've had many a concrete truck in New York delivering to my buildings as I was building them. Charlton, I want to just thank you for the great job you've done. I have a little special award for each of you. And please come up, tell us about your experience. Please, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Secretary Chao. My name is Charlton Paul. I've been with UPS for nearly 25 years. As growing up, the only thing I wanted to do was sit behind the wheel of one of these massive trucks. It's an honor in having a role in part of fighting this coronavirus. I'm an America's Road Team Captain. I'm an UPS All-Star. I drive 606 miles every day from Newburgh, New York to Brookville, Pennsylvania. I recently carried 180 gallons of hand sanitizer made by one of our customers, Prohibition Distillery in upstate New York. Some of my colleagues at UPS Freight have been delivering barrels of hand sanitizer to the New York City Police Department. I couldn't be more proud of my team. I'm also honored to be here representing more than 495,000 UPS workers worldwide to get essential supplies to our frontline healthcare and emergency responders every day. Lastly, My hat is off to the entire trucking industry for keeping our country and our economy moving. Thank you and God bless you. Thank you, sir.
This is beautiful. Come on over here real quick. This is for you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you, sir.
And thank you very much, Gerald. Appreciate it. Great job. We're also joined by Dylan Madigan, a driver for DHL Express, who's been delivering personal protective equipment to hard-hit areas of New Jersey. Dylan, please say a few words. Thank you. Yeah.
First, I would like to thank President Trump for inviting me here today and for his outstanding leadership of our country, especially during this pandemic we are facing. For myself and my colleagues at DHL Express, who are picking up and delivering essential shipments every day, we are on the front lines, but we also know that our true heroes are the medical professionals who are battling to save thousands of precious lives each day. It is an honor to support them, especially in the Northeast, where I am based. Within the last month, I've personally transported hundreds of shipments of personal protective equipment and other medical supplies, including several large shipments of masks to a private home in East Brunswick, New Jersey, where the masks were all being donated by the thousands to our local first responders. I am proud to be able to safely support our customers, first responders, and healthcare heroes. It is truly an honor to be here. Mr. President, thank you.
It's been my honor. It's been my hero. Just stay right there. I come here. We'll get this for you, right? Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Truckers move over 70% of all freight in the United States, over 10 million tons every single year. Truckers keep our economy running, and now in this time of national need, they're saving lives. Here is a very fine gentleman, Stephen Richardson, a member of the American Trucking Association from the great state of Tennessee. We love Tennessee, who drives for Big G Express. Stephen, please come up and say a few words, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. President, for having me here. I am Stephen Richardson, and I've been driving with a company called Big G Express out of Shelbyville, Tennessee for about 19 years, but my total driving experience is 30 years almost. They are an ESOP-owned company, meaning we employee-owned. We own the company. That makes me very proud to know that I'm part of this organization.
Rich, very rich.
Thank you, sir. But also, in my time of driving in the last couple of years, I've been hauling barrels for a company called Jack Daniels out of Lynchburg, Tennessee. They make some of the greatest Tennessee whiskey, if I could say. I've had a few swigs here and there. But in times when the economy's running good, Jack Daniels makes great whiskey. But now that we're in this time of a pandemic, Jack Daniels has switched over to making hand sanitizer. And by me hauling the barrels, it allows the company on the front end to do something for agriculture in our area. It also allows the company to run and make hand sanitizer, which I think is great. I just want to say I really appreciate the 3.5 million men and women truck drivers out here that are running up and down the roads every day, supplying the essentials that we need, the groceries on the shelves, the toilet paper, etc., to keep our essential workers out there and keep them striving. I really think this opportunity to be here, and it means the world to me, and I would like to personally say I thank all the truckers in the United States. And I hope that if you pass a truck out down the road, get a chance, say thank you.
That's true.
Thank you for your time today.
That's true. Here you go. This is for you. It's beautiful.
An amazing event there on the South Lawn of the White House with the president paying tribute to America's truckers, thanking them for all that they do and giving them that special key, no doubt, an amazing moment in their lives. And we thank all of the truckers. You know that we are big fans here at the Daily Briefing. Peter Haber, you stuck around and listened to that, and essential workers. And if you are trying to figure out a way to keep your business running, and surely every business thinks that their employees are essential, how can you advise them to survive so that they can be up and running even after this pandemic?
It's a very weighty question. I mean, I think obviously most people right now, especially I'm based in California, have been considering what the reintegration and plans for getting the economy back going are going to look like. I think certainly we need to make sure that we have adequate testing because I think a lot of this is going to be able to trace any flare-ups of the virus to make sure that we can then isolate that. But the reality is many of the companies that are in our portfolio today are within those essential business kind of nomenclature. And so whether that's within healthcare, whether that's other kind of factories that are producing, actually in many cases, whether it's nasal swabs for testing or whether it's actually face masks using 3D printing, many of those companies today have active lines running and are really trying to make sure that people on the front lines are well supplied. So I think that will be the critical question of the coming months. And I think a lot of it will ultimately depend upon the location and the particular situation, because certainly New York and California have had different experiences over the past several months.
They have, and lots of big decisions ahead of everybody. Thank you, Peter Haber. Thanks for sticking around with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Dana.
And we are now just 200 days out from the November elections, if you can believe that. And former Vice President Joe Biden, he's racking up some endorsements this week from his former opponents like Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Plus, some political analysts say the most important of all, former President Barack Obama. Let's bring in former White House Deputy Chief of Staff Karl Rove and former interim chair of the DNC, Donna Brazile, of course, both are Fox News contributors, and great to have you both here. Yesterday, Karl, Jim Messina, who managed Obama's re-election campaign, said by far the Obama endorsement was the most important one. How do you see it?
Well, I think that's right, but it would have been even more important had it come earlier. It came at the end of the contest. I don't begrudge President Obama that doing it so late. If the political team around him was any indication, there are deep misgivings about whether or not Biden would prove himself out to be an effective candidate, and he proved himself out to be the winner. So I don't begrudge President Obama waiting, and he was also the only one, with Jimmy Carter ailing and Bill Clinton sort of sidelined, the only person who could sort of serve as the symbol of unity for the Democratic Party is Barack Obama. But let's not kid ourselves. The Democratic Party has enormous problems. We saw it in President Obama's speech, where he basically went out of his way to say the Democratic Party would be wise to run on the Bernie Sanders platform rather than the Barack Obama platform. In fact, he himself said, I wouldn't be running, if I were running today, I wouldn't be running on the same platform I ran on in 2008. And made all kinds of comments. Sounded like Bernie Sanders on free college, sounded like Bernie Sanders on health care, went out of his way to sort of diss the Affordable Care Act by saying, no, it was insufficient. We got to basically do what Bernie wants to do. So there's a battle going on for the enthusiasm of the left of the Democratic Party, and it involves caving on a wide variety of issues. Bernie Sanders lost the nomination, but it appears to me that he's winning the platform battle.
Donna, how do you see that?
Well, I disagree a little bit with my friend Karl Rove, and for several reasons. Barack Obama said early on that the nominee should be selected by the voters, not by the big wigs and the big shots. And so Vice President Biden was able to get enough delegates, win enough states to secure the nomination. He's a presumptive nominee. And I believe that even without this endorsement, he went out there and he did it the old-fashioned way. He earned it. Number two, I do believe that the party is more unified today than I've seen it since 2004. While it is important to bring along many of our progressive friends, they have a seat at the table. They have plenty of leaders within the Democratic Party who are not only backing Joe Biden, but will play prominent roles in the campaign in the fall. So the party is much stronger than it was, say, 2 years ago, clearly 4 years ago, when the nomination battle went all the way to the convention. And right now, I think everyone is focused on helping the vice president, get more delegates in the coming weeks as more states hold their contest in June. And we're planning for the fall.
I wanted to play this for you because no doubt this pandemic and the issues of China are going to come up. Take a look at both of these approaches from the Trump campaign and then the Biden response.
After 47 years in Washington, Joe Biden on China.
They're not bad folks, but guess what? They're not a competition for us.
China is killing our jobs, stealing technology, putting America's health in danger.
He's doing the exact thing we teach our kids not to do. Blame somebody else, not me, the other guy. I really believe it's basic human nature. And so the president, instead of saying, here's my plan, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to get you tested, this is how we're going to do this is how we're going to... He doesn't take responsibility. And he says the most bizarre things.
Donna, do you think that Biden's being effective there?
Look, there's so many ways to skin this cat and to have a conversation about what went wrong and what we should do in the future. Clearly, the world's second leading economy, China, which, as we all know, should take a lot of responsibility for this pandemic and not giving us enough information. But the fact is that this conversation is not going to be about China. It's going to be about how do we restore our economy? How do we ensure that we have health care for all Americans, especially those who have been hard hit by this pandemic? And it's going to be about the future in terms of climate change. And so while it's important that we have these conversations now, this is not going to be the conversation that generates the kind of enthusiasm and support the Democrats and the Republicans need this fall.
But Carl, the Trump campaign could be able to say that President Trump has talked about the dangers of China for decades and is following up on that, even though he has to work with President Xi and have conversations with him now.
Yeah. I agree with Donna that the issue by the fall is going to be about performance and so forth. It's also going to be about what kind of positions you're advocating for the future, which is why this move to the left is problematic for the Democrats, in my opinion. But I disagree that this is not going to be important. The fact that that Joe Biden attacked President Trump for closing air traffic and visits from China, calling it xenophobic and racist. Most Americans think that was a pretty smart thing to do, and most of Americans do understand that the Chinese have misled the world about this. They lied. They didn't reveal this as early as they should have. It got out of control long before they began to raise the warning flag. And then we got this issue of Joe Biden attacking the president and Nancy Pelosi at the same time saying the coronavirus isn't going to hurt us and come to San Francisco and come to Chinatown. I mean, these are still going to be issues. By the fall, they will have worked their way through the system and we'll be on to other things. Yeah.
Donna, before we go, hold up that little new puppy of yours. I want to see her.
This is Zora May from the great state of South Carolina. I just want you to know that as much as I've given her bone treats and everything else in between, she still wanted to say hello to you and Jasper. So I look forward to the two of them having a nice walk on the beach one day.
Carl and Donna, you both have new dogs.
I want equal time to show little bit sometime when we're on with Donna. She's got a cute dog, but I got a cuter dog.
Let's
all right,
not
we'll
get
have a
into
face
the
off. All right, thank you so much, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Still to come, Hall of Fame quarterback Terry Bradshaw. You love him, we know you do. His thoughts on bringing back sports and how different the NFL could look come September.